Hello and welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS. Welcome to the big news. The topic for today's discussion, Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Before we understand what this topic is in greater detail, a quick gentle reminder. BYJU'S Exam Prep IAS has already launched its official Telegram channel. If you have not yet joined the channel, please do join so that you get all the current affairs related updates. Let's get started and try and understand what is this topic of Universal Declaration of Human Rights. We have the Human Rights Day that is celebrated every year on December 10th. Why is it celebrated on December 10th? That is because we have to go back to the year 1948. On December 10th, 1948, what we had was the United Nations General Assembly which adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So because they adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights every year on 10th of December, what we have is the observation of the Human Rights Day. As part of the assignment, you have to put on the comment section what is the theme of the Human Rights Day for the year 2022. Please put it on the comment section. And this day is widely recognized to give awareness about the human rights to the people across all the countries and continents. So basically, people would be given an idea about the social rights, cultural rights, political rights, religious rights. All the awareness about these rights are given to the people on the Human Rights Day. Why do we celebrate Human Rights Day? That is because the UNGA adopted Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So what is this Universal Declaration of Human Rights? When we look at the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, this happens to be a document. What is this document? This document basically will give us an idea about the human rights. It has a preamble and it has as many as 30 articles as well. So call this as a document which has the preamble, it has 30 articles and it gives an overview about what sort of human rights will have to be given to the people across the length and breadth of the country. What led to the adoption of the UDHR? When you look at the World War I, when you look at World War II, what exactly happened? There was large scale violation of the human rights. What are these human rights? Let's say all of us are born as the humans, irrespective of which race, caste, religion, country, ethnicity, so on and so forth. Every single person who is born as a human will be given certain rights by default. Such rights which are given to the people are called as the human rights. So the Universal Declaration of Human Rights basically got into the picture primarily because after World War II, there were large scale sufferings that the humans saw. There was one particular race that was targeted. There were one particular community that was targeted. Respect for homosexuals was not given as well. People with disabilities did not enjoy the rights, and as a result, what we saw was mass extermination of number of people. In order to make sure that human rights are accorded to the people, irrespective of the race, ethnicity, sex, gender, so on and so forth, what we required was one document which will espouse and support and give the details of these human rights. And that is why in the year 1948, what we had was the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So this Universal Declaration of Human Rights is a document. This document has a preamble for the human rights, and at the same time it has as many as 30 articles. These 30 articles give social, cultural, political, economic and cultural rights, so that this is advanced by the countries, this is taken by the countries, adapted into relevant laws in their country. What is the preamble of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights? When you look at the preamble of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, it says recognition of inherent dignity and of equal and inalienable rights of all members of the human family is the foundation of freedom, justice and peace in the world. This is part of the preamble. Let's look at some of the important articles. We did discuss there are about 30 articles. Let's look at some of the important articles. As and when we discuss about these Universal Declaration of Human Rights, what I also want you to think is about its relevance in the Indian Constitution. We will discuss, but as and when we speak about it, I want you to think about how this particular article is linked to our Indian Constitution. Let's look into some of the important articles. We have Article 1 of the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights. It says all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. When we speak about this spirit of brotherhood, where is it espoused in the Indian Constitution? This is espoused as part of the preamble. So, if you go through the preamble, we have this particular word brotherhood in the form of fraternity, where fraternity basically gives us the feeling of brotherhood, and the preamble seeks to promote fraternity among the people, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. So, the first point or the Article 1 of the UDHR is directly related to the preamble of the Indian Constitution. Article 2. Everyone is entitled to all the rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration without distinction of any kind, such as race, color, sex, language, religion, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or other status. Where do we have the link? This link is directly under Article 15 of the Indian Constitution. We should not have discrimination only on the basis of religion, race, caste, place of birth. So, all these parameters are linked under Article 15 of the Indian Constitution. Similarly, it is present under Article 2 of the UDHR. Article 3 speaks about everyone has the right to life, liberty and security of the person. This is under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. Article 4 reads, no one shall be held in slavery or servitude. Slavery and slave trade shall be prohibited in their forms, and this can be linked indirectly to Article 23 of the Indian Constitution. Article 5 reads, no one shall be subjected to torture or to cruel, inhuman or degrading treatment or punishment. This is what we speak about the human rights in our country. This is where we have the National Human Rights Commission stepping into the picture as well. So these are present in some of the statutory provisions of the country. Article 7. All are equal before law, are entitled without any discrimination to equal protection of the law. All are entitled to equal protection against any discrimination in violation of this declaration and against any incitement to such discrimination. Discrimination is what we see in Article 15. It is also what we see in Article 14 as well, which speaks about right to equality. Then we have Article 8. Everyone has the right to an effective remedy by the competent national tribunals for acts violating the fundamental rights granted him by the Constitution or by the law. Where do we see it? And that is in the form of Article 32, and that is in the form of Article 226 for the High Courts. When there is a violation of the fundamental rights, one would be able to approach the Supreme Court directly under Article 32. So if there is a violation, one would be able to approach the Supreme Court as well as the High Court. This is another aspect that can be linked to the UDHR. Article 9 reads, no one shall be subjected to arbitrary arrest, detention or exile. Article 11, everyone charged with a penal offence has the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty according to the law in a public trial at which he has had all the guarantees necessary for this defence. Both these are related to the criminal justice system, and these are the very fundamentals of the criminal justice system in the country. Article 12, no one shall be subjected to arbitrary interference with his privacy, family, home, or correspondence, not to attack upon his honor and reputation. Everyone has the right to protection of the law against such interference or attacks. When we speak about privacy, it is under Article 21. When we speak about Article 15 of the UDHR, everyone has the right to nationality. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his nationality or denied the right to change his nationality. This is part of the citizenship, and citizenship is present under Article 5 to 11, and that is once again present in our Indian Constitution. Then we have Article 17. Everyone has the right to own property alone as well as in association with others. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his property. Earlier, right to property was a fundamental right, but now it is a constitutional right. So this principle, which is mentioned under UDHR, is now a constitutional right which is mentioned in our constitution. Article 18 reads, everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, religion. This right includes freedom to change his religion or belief, and freedom either alone or in community with others, and in public or private to manifest his religion or belief in teaching, practice, worship, and observance. Where do we have it? It is under Article 25 of the Indian Constitution. So we speak about conscience, profess, practice, and propagate, and this is present under Article 25 of the Indian Constitution, under Article 18 of the UDHR. Article 19 of the UDHR reads, everyone has the right to freedom of opinion and expression. This right includes freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through any media and regardless of frontiers. The same Article 19 of UDHR is again present in Indian Constitution under Article 19, freedom of speech and expression. Article 21 reads, everyone has the right to take part in the government of his country directly or through freely chosen representatives. Everyone has the right of equal access to public service in this country. This is about employment. This is about participation in the governance of the country. So we have Article 16, which is also a source of employment. We also have the Election Commission of India, which is being given the mandate to conduct elections in the country, and democracy is part of the basic structure. So all this is part of our judicial decisions as well as constitution. And finally, everyone has the right to work, free choice of employment, just favorable conditions of work and to the protection against unemployment, and everyone without any discrimination has the right to equal pay for equal work. This is present under the directive principles of the state policy. And finally, we have an article, everyone has the right to education. Education shall be free at least in the elementary and fundamental stages. Elementary education shall be compulsory. Technical and professional education shall be made generally available, and higher education shall be equally accessible to all on the basis of merit. This clearly points out that these ideas that are espoused in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights also finds its mention in the form of articles in the Indian Constitution. So we have a direct significance from the Indian perspective. So the Indian Constitution's Part 3, which speaks about fundamental right, guarantees some of the essential rights to the Indians. This is given under the Constitution, and this is also espoused, practiced in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. So every citizen of India is guaranteed some of the basic human rights under the Indian Constitution, and these rights are also part of Universal Declaration of Human Rights. When we speak about development of human rights in India, we have the Gita, we have the Vedas, we have the Arthashastra, the Dharma Shastras, which espouse the very fundamentals of human rights. The fundamentals of Buddhism and Jainism also speaks about some of the value systems and human rights that have to be given to the people. So what is the significance of the UDHR, or the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights? This is a source of inspiration to number of countries. Many countries have their own constitution, especially after the Second World War. We had the creation of number of countries, especially in Africa, South America, Asia, so on and so forth. These countries created their constitution. So some of the countries directly took their fundamental rights from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Added to it, there have been number of judgments in India and world over. In fact, the International Criminal Court also refers to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and in one of the judgments in India, which is the Chairman Railway Board and others versus Mrs. Chandrima Das and others, we have the Supreme Court of India refer to the Universal Declaration of Human Rights as well. Now, the most important question is the legal effect of the UDHR. Is Universal Declaration of Human Rights a legally binding document, or is it not? There are few political thinkers who go on to say that this is not a legally binding treaty. They are moral principles. It is not a treaty where countries have come together, they have signed it. It is just the moral principles. Countries may adopt it or they may not adopt it as well, but this is not a legally mandated, as it is a non-binding resolution adopted by the United Nations General Assembly. Have we signed a treaty? No. Is it compelling? No. Is it compulsory? No. It is just a moral rights. So it is given the document. It is asking the countries to implement it. But there are other set of thinkers who go on to say that because UDHR has been practiced and implemented in the form of relevant laws and the constitution of the country, it has assumed legal implications. For example, in India, what we have is the fundamental rights, that is part 3 of the Indian constitution. We did just discuss that most of these ideas that are present in the UDHR are imported into the fundamental rights of our country. Similarly, there are many other rights that are present in the constitution of some other country where they have taken it as a source of inspiration. So directly it may not have the effect, but indirectly it has its effect. So which means the UDHR is in practice in an indirect manner. So directly it may not have the legal effect, it may not have the compulsory effect, but indirectly, because the countries have accepted in the form of laws and constitution, it has its effect felt, is the other perspective for the UDHR. It is this that we have to understand with respect to this topic. So this is it for today. Thank you for watching. All the best.